Alright, welcome back. Today we're going to look at the components of blood. What exactly is in blood? You may think of it as something red, kind of sticky, that comes out of a cut or a wound. It might make you a little queasy, but there's a lot more involved in blood than a lot of people realize. So what exactly is in blood? We have red blood cells, platelets, white blood cells, carbon dioxide, digested food, plasma, hormones, oxygen, and waste or urea. So there's so many different components to blood, and they all play a specific role in what blood is going to do, which is going to be transporting things back and forth throughout the body. So red blood cells, that's probably the most well-known component of blood. They're basically this disc, looks like almost like a 3D donut, as you can see in the picture. They contain hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is actually what makes them red, and it's a molecule specifically designed to hold oxygen and carry it to cells that need it. They can change shape to an amazing extent without breaking, as it squeezes single file through the capillaries. White blood cells, there are many different types, and they all contain a big nucleus. So these are going to be part of your immune system. So the two main types are the lymphocytes and the macrophages. Macrophages basically eat and digest microorganisms. I like to think of them as the Pac-Man of your immune system. So they come across a cell or a virus or a bacteria that's not supposed to be there, and they basically engulf it and break it down and get rid of it. Some lymphocytes fight disease by making antibodies to destroy invaders by dissolving them. Other lymphocytes make antitoxins to break down poisons. So again, this is all part of your defense mechanism for attacking things that enter your bloodstream that aren't supposed to be there. Platelets. Platelets are bits of cell broken off larger cells. Platelets produce tiny fibrogen fibers to form a net. This net traps other blood cells to form a blood clot. So if you get a cut, the reason you don't bleed uncontrollably is because your blood will clot at the wound to stop the bleeding. Plasma is a straw-colored liquid, about 90% water, that carries the cells and the platelets which help blood clot. It also contains useful things like carbon dioxide, glucose, amino acids, proteins, minerals, vitamins, hormones, and waste materials, like I said, urea. Now, the picture shows a sample of blood that they've actually taken and centrifuged it. So what that means is they've put it in this machine that speeds it up at an extremely high force. And what that does is it separates the blood out by its components. So this top component right here, that's kind of that straw color or light yellow, is the plasma, what we were just talking about. There's this middle white coat right here I'm going to highlight. That's the Buffy coat, it's called. So it's white blood cells and your platelets. And then at the bottom is your red blood cells. So you can see the different components separate out if you were actually to centrifuge a sample of your own blood. Alright, so some blood facts. The average adult has about 5 liters of blood inside their body, which makes up 7 to 8% of their body weight. Blood is living tissue that carries oxygen and nutrients to all parts of the body. It carries carbon dioxide and other waste products back to the lungs, kidneys, and liver so they can be taken out of the body. It also fights against infection and helps heal wounds so you can stay healthy. How does blood clot? So say you get a cut, you get a scrape, you fall. So what is going to happen to prevent you from continuously bleeding? So platelets come in contact with edges of broken vessels. They then become sticky. So the cluster of platelets form around the wound. They release proteins called clotting factors. And this is a whole series of really complicated factors. And they're basically going to cause this domino effect. And all these complicated reactions are going to lead to a clot forming. What eventually is going to stop the bleeding is the fibrin that forms. So you can see in the picture, it starts to form this net-like, so all that stickiness, and then the fibrin forms, and you basically can stop the bleeding or keep it under control. Hemophilia is a genetic disorder that results from a defective protein in the clotting factor. So basically, these people cannot produce blood clots even to hold most of the minor bleeding. So what happens if they get even just a minor paper cut? They'll continuously bleed, and they'll need to have clotting factors inserted, like injected into their body. So they have to be extremely careful. They have a lot higher risk of bleeding out. And that's the end of the slides for what makes up the components of our blood. In the next slide, we're going to talk about how you get your blood type. Where does it come from?